Welcome to Stressed Out to the Max, a podcast all about stress, how to manage it, and all the problems that stress can cause. Welcome to our podcast. Welcome to the COVID Life podcast. This podcast will be dealing with mental health illness, mental health issues, and how everybody is dealing with all the impact of this significant point in history where the pandemic is causing a lot of havoc among us. So welcome to the podcast, and we hope you are able to participate by sending us stories, even being interviewed if you want to tell us your story online. All that's going to be possible. So what I think we'll do is, the first thing we'll do is we're going to start looking at what's going on right now in the pandemic world. Well, we're seeing that there's a third wave of the pandemic coming along, and it's mostly due to the variant. And here in Ontario, there's going to be a lockdown, but it won't be a full lockdown, and I don't think that will be enough to stop the variant. So the numbers will probably go up. But the most significant problem here in a pandemic is the necessary lockdowns that happen. Unfortunately, they have to happen to control the disease, but there's significant tolls on everybody's life when this happens. For instance, people lose their jobs, restaurants can't operate fully. The worst part of COVID is that it really affects everybody in the whole world, okay? It's taking its toll here in Canada, it's taking its toll in the USA, and what I'm looking for is I'm trying to see what the shared experience and what similarities occur among all of us. So how are we all being affected by COVID, and how are we adjusting to that? Now, at first I thought maybe COVID would help unite us, but unfortunately, because of the vaccine, it's actually, I'm finding that countries are almost, playing a lot of nationalism there. Countries fighting to have their own vaccines and not sharing it. I think the only way we're going to solve COVID as a world pandemic problem is for all the countries to join together, because we need to attack this problem as a world issue, not as an individual country, but as a world issue. And then we'll finally be able to get a hold of this pandemic. Or else the pandemic is just eventually going to keep going until it's endemic. Endemic means it's just a part of our regular bacterial viruses that exist in our world, like the common flu that happens every year. Depression and anxiety are prevalent to begin with, but COVID has brought more anxiety, more depression. Lockdowns that cause isolation, making you live in your house, not having people visit you, the lack of human contact, the actual touching of someone's hand to your hand. That human contact for some people is now gone. Grandparents missing their children, their grandchildren. All that can lead to depression and anxiety and make things worse. When we ask ourselves, what is depression? Well, depression, when I think about it as either a change in sleep, either too much sleep, too little sleep, a lack of interest in the things you like to do, like your hobbies, watching TV. If you like doing puzzles, and all of a sudden you're not doing puzzles anymore, those are all signs in keeping with depression. Guilty feelings, and we can explore that in further episodes. And we can explore all of this in further episodes. I'm going to gear the podcast based on what I see you guys wanting us to talk about. The podcast itself is run by myself, Edward, and my partner, Ingrid. And we're both healthcare providers with years and years of counseling and psychotherapy experience. So we've dealt with a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. And we wanted this podcast to kind of delve into that and see what we can do to shed some light into the effects of COVID on the world and on how depression and anxiety is more prevalent and what we can do. So we talked about depression so far, sleep issues, interest issues, feelings of guilt. Guilt can come in many ways. Guilty because I'm not able to provide for my family as I was before because my job is not giving me the hours I need. Guilty because I'm not seeing my parents at the nursing home. So guilt can come in many means, many ways. Your mood, it can be very depressed, very low. That would definitely be a sign of depression. Energy levels can be very low. I usually, when I talk to people about that and I ask them, how depressed are you? I ask them from a ranking of 1 to 10, 10 being high, what's your energy level at? And they'll tell me, it's 3, 2. That's really bad. One energy is so bad you can't get out of bed. So that's definitely a sign of depression. Concentration, poor attention. Once again, if we were to rate those from 1 to 10, we would get ratings of 3, 4, very low. Because if your mind is just not thinking properly, because the hormones in your body aren't working properly, it's going to affect your concentration and memory. And then depression can get so bad that it can cause even perceptual changes. You can start hearing voices, seeing things. These are all really, really bad cases of depression. Anxiety, I think of depression and anxiety as all from the same spectrum. So anxiety is just another part of the same mood and mental illness spectrum. It's it's the anxiety of being nervous, of worrying, of not knowing what's going to happen in the future. And with COVID, that's for sure happening. When am I going to get that vaccine? Is the vaccine effective? Will it give me side effects? What if I don't take it? What if I take it? What if my family member takes it? What if my child takes it? What if my parents take it? So many questions. So that gives us an idea of what depression and anxiety are. So, what can we do to make things easier for us? Well, yes, you can't have a visit to your mom. You can't go see your friend or loved one because they put a lockdown on you. They put an isolation order on you. They put whatever order they've put to prevent the spread, and it's affecting you in a certain way. Well, let's look at different ways you can contact people. You can phone them on the phone. You can send them letters, photographs, videos, different things. And if the other person is a little bit has a little bit of knowledge with online internet, maybe you can use Zoom. That's one way of helping about communicating with other people. Okay. If you're within your own family, you can communicate more with your children, with your loved one, with your spouse. If you're living on your own, do make calls to friends and family members. It helps a lot. Then on its own, what can you do at home? Well, you can listen to music that makes you lifts up your mood. One of the things we can do in this podcast in the future is feature music that can be uplifting. We tried to do that once with a podcast called It's Spanglish Time, Spanglish Happy Time. But we thought that this podcast would be more important, so we decided to go over with COVID Life, the mental health edition. What kind of things can you do at home? Well, you can start journaling. Journaling means taking a diary and writing out your thoughts, what happened during the day. You can actually give yourself a rating of how nervous or depressed you are from 1 to 10. Put it in the journal every day. At the end of the day, look at it, read it to see what you wrote, add some more notes, and keep track of that, right? And if you see you're getting really depressed or really anxious, it's good to talk to your family doctor, to your primary care provider, and see what they can do to give you some help, because there is help there. You can get a therapist, a counselor, a psychotherapist. If depression is so bad and the rating is so low that counseling enough is not going to do it for you, there's medications, antidepressants, and some behavioral modifications that we can that can be taught. So there's lots of things that can be done, but it takes that first step to get help. So if you're listening to this podcast and you feel you're really depressed to the point of almost being suicidal, I want you to pick up that phone and call someone for help. Okay, get that help you need, and that's really important. It's important that we all get the help we need. Now, if it's not so bad that you need to have a primary care doctor do something, well, there's other things we can do. Like I said, music therapy, reading books, doing things that lift our mood. Think about it this way. If you're sad, you don't smile. Okay, people that are sad don't smile that much. People that are happy, they laugh and they smile. Our brain has a very interesting way of performing. If you smile, like right now, smile right now. That gives you a certain feeling, right? So it doesn't matter whether you smile first or you feel happy first. Either way, the two are connected. And that we can use in what's called cognitive behavioral therapy, where we do activities and make our mind think in a certain way to produce happy, positive thoughts in our head. So right now you smile and it makes you happy. A little bit of feeling of happiness. So there's something you can do. Do activities that people who are not depressed do. They wake up on time. They go to bed on time. They eat healthy. They get up and take a shower or a bath. That helps a lot. Try doing that and see how that helps you. Okay, we'll come back with another podcast, and we hope to see you soon. We'll have more ideas of how to get through this terrible pandemic, as well as look into what other people are doing, how they're experiencing COVID. Thank you for listening to our first podcast, and we will be back with episode 2 and more stuff about COVID, more things about anxiety and depression, and how one can make one feel better. We'll even be able to discuss meditation and relaxation therapy. All those things we'll talk about in the future. But for now, I think the first thing you can do is start journaling. Get a diary, write down every day how you're feeling, and give yourself a rating scale, and track it over time. And if you find you're really, really depressed or anxious, pick up that phone and make that appointment with your doctor to get some real help as well. Okay? Thank you, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to Stressed Out to the Max. Please email us at covidlifepodcast@gmail.com. That's covidlifepodcast@gmail.com. And thank you once again for joining us for this episode. We try to put out episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Make our podcast even better, our stories from you. So please do email us any type of story related to stress, anxiety, depression, or mental illness, and we'll be happy to include that story in one of our future podcast episodes. Thank you.